The Dream Interpretation Masterclass. Let's get started. Let's get going. So dreams are the greatest tool for self-awareness. This is because your dreams coming from your subconscious mind, the mind that your soul uses, it will always have a lesson for you on what's going on within your mind. So it'll be the latest and greatest information for your own soul growth and spiritual development. Whatever issues are currently going on with your life, whatever goals and desires you currently have for yourself and for your life, whatever things you're trying to build within yourself to evolve into, the person you're wanting to become. um, it'll give you information into all of that, how to overcome the obstacles, how to attain what you're wanting to do, how you have accomplished the goals that you have. And it will help you to identify how that happened and how that occurred within your mind, so that you can then replicate it in the future. So the more you understand about your dreams, the more you will understand about yourself. So to reiterate and go over again the foundational dream understandings. One, every dream is about you, the dreamer. And that's because every person, place, and thing within a dream is an aspect of your consciousness. So, yes, there are visitation dreams, where you can visit with other people and other people can visit with you, past loved ones. Also, like us, we can meet up in a dream. So you can definitely visit people within a dream. However, those dreams have a different quality and feel to it. So it's not the most common time. You're not visitation dreaming every night. I mean, you might be, if you're an advanced dreamer like that, and that's great. But even with a precognitive dream, even with a visitation dream, even with a lucid dream, this same perspective in interpretation still applies. Just like in your waking life, you can go through life and apply this same interpretation the same way. You can look at the people in your lives and see them as aspects of yourself, because like we all have already heard and understand and know, or maybe we don't and it's brand new, but you are the company you keep. The people that in your life, the five closest friends around you, the five closest people in your life, that is the type of consciousness you're going to have. So the people you experience through the law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, and the law of manifestation is going to be the exact same as being able to just look at them as all aspects of yourself and what you are bringing to the forefront of your mind, in order to have these same experiences as well. So the third thing, dreams are a reflection of the dreamer's consciousness the previous day or two. So like I was saying earlier, your dreams are a reflection of how you've been using your mind. So if you're someone who's just kind of like very funny and happy-go-lucky, you'll have funny, happy-go-lucky dreams. If you're someone who's very gloomy and dreary, you're gonna have gloomy and dreary dreams. If you're sad all the time, you're gonna have very sad dreams. If you're very like soft and playful, you're gonna have soft, playful dreams, and the subconscious mind will deliver the message through those ways. So, and it's the previous day or two because it's what's going on now. You're not going to have a dream tonight based on how you were using your mind when you were 10. Unless you're 10 now and you're watching this. But another thing, the more you give, more attention you give to your dreams, the deeper your experience will become. That is because where you where your attention goes, energy flows. Pretty much what you put your attention on grows. So whatever you have your attention on will grow. The more you have your attention on your dreams, then the more awareness you will have on your dreams. And so then the more awareness you will have while dreaming. All right. So the universal language of the mind. This is the language that our dreams are in. Our dreams communicate in a language. That's pretty much what this entire course is about, is understanding this language, becoming bilingual or trilingual for some, or even more. But it literally is learning a language. It's a language that our minds speak in, and it is universal. So it's not like, some people speak English, some people speak Spanish, some people speak Swahili, some people speak Egyptian. Everyone's mind speaks in this language of images. Like I always go, this is my go-to every time. Think of a balloon. You're gonna think of an image. Think of a giraffe. You're gonna see an image of it in your mind. You know, think of the word clarity. You're gonna see an image of the word in your mind. So we think in images. So our mind communicates in images. So understanding the language of those images is key to understanding your dreams. So, and then not only your dreams, but how your mind works. Your thoughts create your reality. So, understanding this language will help you to get better at creating your reality in the ways that you want to versus just unconsciously doing it. So our mind communicates in images. I already went over that. Maybe I should have pulled it up while I was talking. So our thoughts are images. And so one thing that you'll want to do is with your dream journal. Hopefully, everybody already has a notebook. You know, you can. I love to go to like Barnes and Noble or someplace that has like an extensive amount of notebooks and like choose one. Me, I spend like, you know, $20, $30 on my dream journals just because it's for me, it's a way of like telling my subconscious mind, showing my subconscious mind, my soul, how valuable I think it is. You know, I can't find an expensive enough book to put my dreams down in. So anyways, you know, but you don't, I'm saying all that to say you don't have to do that. You can go get 99-cent notebook, but make sure it's something that's dedicated specifically just to your dreams. One, so that you don't take it away from your bed and it goes anywhere, but also two, so you tell your subconscious mind, hey, this is important to me. You know, so it'll strengthen that relationship between the conscious and subconscious minds, which will strengthen your own intuitive abilities as well as your dream experiences. So write down your dreams every night, but also in with your dream journal, as you're writing things in the front, in the very back, you'll want to write down all of the symbols, one that we go over today. So if you have it available, go ahead and grab it. And then that way you can, and then all the symbols that come up in your dreams. That way you can start your own glossary. You know, there's a video glossary, a lot of symbols that are even on video yet on the website awakenwithin.us that you can find on there. But you don't want to be reliant on any other source as you're learning this language for yourself. I mean, use it for reference, but you don't want to rely on it. You really want to create your own glossary in your own dream journals. It's powerful and very effective for increasing how fast you pick up on this language. So when you do have your dream journal, this is how you want to record your dreams. So first, you want to write tomorrow's date. So today's the 3rd. You'll want to write, you know, July 4th, 2022. This is creating an expectation every single time. I expect to have something to write down here. And then you will write down, I would, oh, excuse me, sorry. Then you will write down, I will remember my dreams. You know, you don't have to write in all caps with the exclamation point like I do, but that's how I write it down every time. So that's how I write it down on the example. And then you'll say out, like, you know, put your pen in the spot, close it, set it right next to your head, next to your bed, under your pillow, whatever you want to do with it. But just make sure it's really close, so you don't even have to sit up. Really, at least don't have to get up to get it. And then when you close your eyes, say out loud, I will remember my dreams. You know, and even if you're sleeping next to somebody, I mean, you know, I mean, if you're not uncomfortable with it, then don't say it out loud. Say it in your head. But it'll have more power if you do say it out loud. If you're sleeping next to somebody, just let them know, hey, I'm trying to work on my dreams and get better at them. So that I don't wake up in the middle of the night and smack you with a pillow because I saw you doing something in my dream. You put it like that, they'll not think it's weird and they'll enjoy it. But anyways, when you wake up in the morning, even if you only have like one symbol, even if it's just, you know, I was at the store. I don't know what else I was doing. I don't know who I was with. I don't even know if it was me, but it was a store. I don't even know what kind of store. Just write down store. That's it. There's a lot there with that. But, you know, write down your dream. I do an example on here. I was driving a car down the road and came to a light, a red light. I didn't know where I was. Then I woke up, you know. So, oh yeah, also, sorry, before you start writing down your dream, you'll want to you want to put a line down the center of your page. Me personally, I kind of like shift a little more to the right. That way I have more space to write down and a little less space to put my symbols and things and interpretation on the right hand side. But you'll want the dream on the left side and your symbols and everything on the right side. So after you've written down your dream, you'll underline all the symbols. And so in doing that, pretty much you're just underlining what images you saw. I was driving, driving is a verb, so it's not really a thing, it's not an image. So I was driving a car, I saw a car in my dream down the road. I saw the road. Okay, so I underline car, underline road, and came to a red light. Okay, I saw the red light at the intersection. You know, I didn't write intersection down here, but if you know, that happens as you're writing down the dream, you'll remember more stuff. Oh yeah, there was an intersection too. Let me write that down. And so I didn't know where I was. You know, being lost isn't, you didn't see being lost. You just kind of knew you were lost. Then I woke up. So like things like this, like driving and being lost, even though those aren't images that you underline and put over here to the right, they are things that you're going to want to keep in mind while you interpret. So keep that in mind while we go interpret. But for now, just underline the images of what you're actually seeing. And then on the right hand side, write it down. Car, and then write down the interpretation. Physical body, road, life path, red light, indication I need to stop and wait. So, you were driving, so you were in control of where you're going in life, because the car is going down the road. So you were in control of where you're going in life. That's great. A lot of people that dream of being in the back seat. Hopefully, you're not dreaming of being in the trunk, but some people do. And you didn't know where you were, so you were lost. So, kind of, in the direction you're heading in life, you're needing to you're kind of lost, so you didn't know where you were. You don't kind of know where you're at in life and where you're trying to get to. And so your dreams are telling you, hey, stop and take a second, wait a minute, just stop and sit here and assess where you're at. The choice, you can go straight, you can go left, you can go right, but just really take a moment to identify exactly where you want to go, and then figure out which is the best route. Is the best route going straight? Is the best route turning right? Is the best route turning left? Is the best route turning around and going back 3 blocks and cutting over from there? So your dreams will really give you a lot more insight. So even though we pulled the symbols down, we kept in mind the other things that were going on. So that interpretation is what you would write down here. I need to stop and take a moment to assess where I want to go in life, and how I would best be able to get there, and my first step in getting there. Your first step. What's the first step in getting where I'm going? Straight, left, right, turn around. After that, I'll figure out the next directions. But let me not worry about those directions now. Let me just sit and assess where I want to go. What's the first step? And so write that down. And then once you do that, I didn't put this on here. I should have. Once you finish that dream, you just put an underline down here, and then start all over. 7/5/2022, the next night. You don't write that down until right before you go to bed. But you just put an underline, close it, and then take time to assess, like, okay, and think about it just throughout the day. Think about how you're going to apply it that day. Like, okay, what am I going to do today throughout the day? I got 18 different things I have to do. I got to go to work, got to get the kids, got to do all this. But real quick, how am I going to apply this to my life? Okay, I am going to make sure I kind of give at least a little time today and identify where I want to go. I'm gonna allow myself, anytime I kind of get stressed out about the current situation of my life, the current status of my life, I'm gonna just take a deep breath and relax and be patient. I'm gonna give myself 1 week. I don't need to decide anything on my life for the next week. And so, that's stopping and waiting, giving yourself time, be patient, take a deep breath. Let everything that's stressing you out, let it go. Just wait a moment, give yourself 1 week, and just then assess and see what you need to do. You got time. The red light's going, other traffic's going. You got time. Take a minute. All right. So this language is a language of form and function. So just like the English language is a language of words and sentences, math is a language of numbers and equations. Music is a language of rhythms and melodies. You know, this language of the mind is the language of form and function. What is the form, and what is the function of that form, and how does the consciousness function the same way? How does the mind function the same way? So here's two of the three symbols, or two of the symbols we had in the last one, and then another one. So car is the form. What is the function? It is the vehicle that we use to reach our goals. And then you have the road. Or I'm sorry. I started thinking, oh, wait, did I record this? Let me make sure. And then I recalled the memory of hearing that voice. So anyways, car. What is a car? It's the vehicle we use to reach our goals. And so how does that relate to the consciousness? Our physical bodies is the vehicle that our consciousness uses to reach our goals here in this physical reality. So anytime a car shows up in a dream, it's going to represent your physical body or your physical life. So like if you have a dream of a car, anytime you have a dream of a car crash, that's definitely like, hey, pay attention to your health. Something's going on. Like for example, the last any kind of type of car crash dream I had. It's really the last time I was sick. It was like 3 years ago, and at the time I was going to the gym all the time. I was going to the gym and playing soccer. I was playing soccer 1 day a week and going to the gym like 4 days a week. And the people in my household, they were all getting sick, and I never get sick, so I wasn't really worried about it. But in the dream, and this one really confused me. I wasn't able to interpret it till it was too late, because normally a typical car crash I can figure it out, but in this one I'm driving this truck, and the entire truck just like breaks apart into pieces, like into blocks and cubes, to where like you have this. It all just like breaks apart, breaks. It's really weird, just like all broke down, and you had like all over the street, as if the car suddenly turned into Legos and crashed on the ground. That's what it was like. That's the best way I can describe it. It just broke into like little blocks and cubes that were laying all over. And I picked up trash bags. I grabbed the steering wheel, put it in a trash bag, grabbed the seat, put it in a trash bag, and did all this stuff. And all this other stuff was going on. And when I woke up, I interpreted the rest of the dream, and I tried to use that to assess what it meant. Like really, just the breaking apart into different pieces is what really confused me. And I really wanted to figure it out because I didn't want to get sick. I didn't know what it was, what kind of ailment it was. And I reached out to a couple other people, and they were stumped too. But then I got sick, and I caught the same, virus. It was a little flu virus. It was before Corona. It was COVID or anything, so it wasn't that. But it was just, regular flu. I never got. I've had the flu like one other time in my life. I never get sick or anything. It's weird. So when I got that, like the very first day, I'm laying there in bed, just relaxing, recovering, and it hit me. Oh my God, because I was like, I never get sick. That's why I got sick. I was breaking my body down because I was, working out all the time. And I was breaking my body down. And my dream was trying to tell me, hey, if you continue breaking your body down, then you won't have the normal defenses from your immune system to fight off this, flu that's right in your face every day, all day. And so, unfortunately, it was afterwards that I figured it out. But anyways, I was saying all of that just to say, if there's a car crash in your dream, pay the fuck attention. If you don't understand it, then reach out to me, and I'll help you understand it as fast as I can, so that you can keep from being sick. Because if I would have understood it the way that I understood it afterwards, when I had the dream, when I woke up, then I wouldn't have went to the gym the next 3 days in a row, and I would have let my body recover. I would have taken more you know immunity building things like some colloidal silver and stuff like that, some moringa and bladderwrack and sea moss. But anyways, I didn't do that. Like I said. So on to the next one. The road. The road is the form, and how does the road function? The function of the road is to give us a path in order to reach our destination, reach our goals. So how does that relate to the consciousness? The path that we are on to reach our goals is our life path. In this life, that our vehicle, the path that our vehicle uses to reach our goals. So our path in life. And so light is another one. What is the function of light? Light light allows us to be aware of our surroundings. So light in a dream will represent awareness, because that's how that function applies to consciousness. Well, awareness, your conscious awareness, your subconscious awareness, your superconscious awareness. Light is going to represent awareness. The more light you have, the more aware you are. The less light there is, the less aware you are. So if it's dark in a dream, then that's giving you insight into something you're unaware of. That's another value of the dreams. Like I talked about last week, they are in the subconscious mind, so they are, subconscious mind never sleeps. Subconscious mind knows everything you know. It knows things you don't know. So like this, it can give you a dream, an insight into what you are unaware of within your own. Oh, wow, I wasn't aware I used my mind like that. Oh, wow, I wasn't aware that belief was in the back of my mind running all this time. And now I wake up and I'm getting attacked by a bear in at night, so I wasn't aware that this bear was just attacking me. So just a real quick, brief reiteration. We have the conscious mind down here. This is the mind that your 3D physical body uses within the physical. There's only one level within the conscious mind. One level. It's only one realm, the 3D, physical realm. Within the subconscious mind, there's different realms. The emotional, astral, lower astral, upper astral, and mental. The emotions are right next to the physical, so that's the closest level of mind that you can experience. So that's why we feel emotions. That's why we call them feelings, because we can feel them. Our thoughts are a little less perceptible. So, you know, they're a little further away. That's why it's harder to perceive them than it is feelings. Or unless you're somebody like me who has, an Aquarian moon and a Taurus sun, so you more think your emotions more than you feel them. So, but that's something I have to work on. But I still feel my emotions, you know, easier than I feel my thoughts. We don't feel our thoughts really. Sometimes you can if you're receptive enough, but it's not as easy as your emotions. Anyways, this is in the fourth dimension that your soul uses. Soul is the fourth dimensional body. The fourth dimension is time, so there is no limit on time here. So that's why you can go into past. When you're dreaming, you can experience, past life experiences. You can go into past. I had a friend once when I first moved here to Louisville, and he every single night his dreams always started with the same past life experience every single time. So we talked about it and shared some insight on that. Anyways, the fifth or the superconscious mind is the mind that the spirit uses, which is your fifth dimensional body, and the fifth dimension is space. So there is no limit on space. That's why it's cosmic. Highest point is cosmic consciousness. I shared this. I like to reiterate it every time. In the physical, these two sides seem separate. You got the left side and the right side, completely separate. So we all feel like we're completely separate, male and female, completely separate. Um, we all feel like we're separate. But the deeper into the mind we go, the closer we can tell we're connected. In the subconscious mind, these lines are a lot closer than out here. So through our subconscious intuitive ability, we can feel a little more connected, finishing each other's thoughts or thinking of someone and they send you a text. That's your intuition going on because there's a stronger connection there. You're more aware of your connection with other people. And then superconscious mind, if you go all the way out here to cosmic consciousness, you can see that there is no difference between the left and the right. It's all one. This it's connected. Left and the right are connected. So it's all one. So the separation is actually an illusion. Anyways, I go deeper into that in the previous video. I won't. I just want to reiterate. All right, the universal language of the mind. The top 5 most common dreams. To help us understand the language, it's going to take practice and repetition. Even to this day, it's not really about like memorizing things, although there are things that you're going to memorize just naturally out of the repetition. But you don't have to like memorize these things. You just understand. Once you understand the language, you'll be able to interpret any symbol that you come across that you may never interpreted before. It still happens to me all the time. The other day, I forget whose dream I was interpreting, but there was a symbol I had never come across, and I was excited. I was like, "Oh, great! Let's break down a new one." And so, when you understand the language, the formula, form, what is the form? What is its function? How does it relate? How does that function? How does the consciousness function the same way? So, we're going to start with the top 5 most common dreams. The number 1 most common dream: running from something, hiding from something, being chased. That is the number 1 dream. I've especially before I started writing down my dreams. 'Cause I don't really get chased in dreams or hide from anything anymore for 7, 8, 9 years. Every once in a while, but it'll come up and I'll address it. But it, especially compared to before then, all the way up until I'm 24, 25, 26, I was getting chased, hiding and running from something and everything, fighting with myself. I was fighting all the time. My best friend, Diggs, used to say all the time, like, man, you are a warrior. You be going to battle in all your dreams. So I, wake up, he hung out all the time. First person, man, I had a dream last night. I was on this huge battlefield on the cliff watching these 4 armies battle. It was a 4-way army fight. Stuff like that used to happen all the time. But anyways, number 2, second most common dream: teeth falling out. That is a big one. So we'll go over that. Number 3, being back in school, taking a test, feeling unprepared for the test. That is the third most common dream that I've come across in interpreting people's dreams. Number 4, snake dreams. Snake dreams are huge. A ton of people have snake dreams. Snakes biting them, running from snakes, falling into a pit of 1,000 snakes. Um, little snakes, big snakes, snakes the size of, you know, well, like the size of buildings, but long as long as like 4 miles long. Anyways, sex dreams. Sex dreams are very common, and not just like wet dreams or anything, but also all type of sex dreams. You know, I've had plenty of people come to me with having sex with people same sex, but they're not bi or gay or anything. Sex with animals. Sex with objects. People just in dreams have sex and they really are confused by it because they don't understand the language. So it really helps to understand the language. All right, so let's start going over these dreams. All right, universal language of the mind. Top 5 most common dreams. Number 1, running or hiding from something, being chased. So, one thing to bring it back to the beginning, everything in the dream is about you, an aspect of your consciousness. So, one very simple thing to remember as you go through learning this language and interpreting your dreams. If you ever come across a symbol and you don't know what it is, or if the symbol itself, you don't really know what it is. If you're running from something, you don't know what you're running from, you just know you're running. Just remember, everything is an aspect of your own consciousness. So you can replace every symbol with the word me, I. I was running from myself. I was I was chasing myself. I was hiding from myself. But it's a part of your consciousness. So I was hiding from a part of myself. I was being chased by a part of myself. I'm running from a part of myself. And not just this kind of dream, but every dream, you can do that with. Replace it with you, and it'll really help. So this dream would be something within you that you're unwilling to face. Very common dream. So one thing that I would suggest for someone who's having this dream, because you know, yes, we are learning how to interpret dreams, but we have to apply the message. It's fascinating to experience a dream. It's very exciting and insightful to interpret a dream. However, if you don't apply the message, then there was really no benefit of it all. Like I say all the time, if we're sitting in a building and a group of people run in and say, "Hey, the building's on fire! The building's on fire!" and then they run out, and we all just sit there, "Oh, hey, all the building's on fire," and then we just stay sitting there, then they shouldn't have even stopped for us. They had no need to even stop for us and have that experience. They could have kept on going. So we didn't do nothing with the message. Now, oh, the building's on fire. Let's get up. Okay, we need to get up. We need to formulate a plan and get out of this building, or put out the fire. One of the two. Something we need to change what we're doing. So applying the message is very important. So for someone who's having this dream, what I would suggest is really look at what parts of yourself you're not willing to admit are really there. Like for example, me, I'm a Taurus bull. I used to be so bullheaded. I mean, I still am in a lot of ways, but very confrontational and stubborn and really just very confrontational. But I would always blame it on the other person. I've always been very like cheery and joyful and funny and making trying to make people laugh and enjoy life. But at times, I would be very aggressive if I felt the situation called for it. I was very confrontational. But I would always blame whatever person or thing within my environment that stimulated me to be that way. They made me like this. I'm not like that. So I was running from that part of myself. I wasn't willing to admit it. I was hiding from that. Sometimes it would be chasing me because it would it would haunt me. Like being chased from something. It's like something that's haunting you. It would haunt me. Because the control of how my state of mind and my emotional state and things and the experiences I had were in the control of other people. Other people could easily just walk up, "Hey, Tarak, you're a bitch," and then boom, they were in control of my emotion. "Oh, you're gonna prove that to me," and here we are. I'm having this whole experience that I wouldn't have had. Whereas now, somebody comes up to me and says that, I'm just gonna laugh because it's hilarious. I'm not gonna, I don't have anything to prove. Mainly because I've done a lot of dream work. Honestly, I did a lot of dream work with that and changed that part of myself. I used to have dreams where people would run up and be shooting at me all the time. But once I started this, and once I became aware that I was like that, exactly how I explained, this awareness came as I first started writing down my dreams. Then I started within a couple weeks, I started having dreams, because I was also meditating every day, concentrating every day, visualizing every day. But I started having dreams all the time of like I remember the very first one where it switched. I turned the corner and there were three guys there. One was the middle, one in the middle was holding the gun. They were all laughing. And I've had a dream very similar to this all the time. And they shot me 3 times, boom, 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 right in the chest. But this time it was different. I looked down. I was completely fine. I laughed, snatched the gun from them, and shot all three of them. So, we haven't gone over this yet, but death in a dream represents transformation. So, since everything is a part of you, it's all about self transformation. So, that's a way in which the way that I was changing and evolving wasn't I didn't feel like it was in the hands of someone else. I took control of who I was going to change and evolve into. And first thing I'm going to change are these parts of myself that are very aggressive and, haunting me. So then I did, and I haven't been the same way since. Now I say stories like I tell people stories like how I used to be, and people that know me now and they laugh. They're like, "No, you're making that up. You're joking around all the time. I don't believe that." But you go back to Cincinnati, and they say I'm a fraud. I'm just I'm over here. I'm down here like doing the most because they know me as something else. They don't know who I am today. They think I'm a phony. That's fine. I don't care. Anyways, universal language of the mind. Top 5 most common dreams. Number 2, teeth falling out. So teeth are the form. So what are the function of teeth? Teeth help you break down the food so that you can digest it better. Well, what's food? Food is the form. What is the function of food? The function of food is to give you life force energy to sustain your body, to give you the nutrients that become a part, become, your organs and tissues and bones and blood and everything, so you need those nutrients to sustain life. Well, how does the consciousness function in the same way? Well, the nutrients from that our consciousness receives is the knowledge that we gain from the life experiences that we have. So we have life experiences, we have life lessons to learn from those experiences. And from those lessons that we learn, there are things that we can understand, how we can gain deeper understandings into different things, like, have a deeper understanding of forgiveness, have a deeper understanding of patience, have a deeper understanding of abundance. Our teeth function in that way. They help us break down those life experiences. And so when we're able to break down our life experiences, then we're better able to digest what has occurred. If I get a fire from my job and I can just walk around just being bitter about being fired all the time and never let it go, but that's going to be toxic. Just like, if I eat food and never let that shit go, it's going to be very toxic to my body. But if I break down what happened, okay, I I've been frustrated the last 2-3 months. I haven't really been putting forth the same effort that I used to before. I haven't really been wanting to be there anyways, but I'm kind of stuck in a situation now because they let me go and I wasn't ready to go. Okay, I can see how I may have caused this to happen. I had the desire to leave and I've somehow unconsciously manifested it. Okay, I need to learn more about manifestation and how I'm manifesting things because I did just manifest this. I just did it unconsciously. So that's the understanding. That's the life lesson that I need to learn. I need to learn how to regulate my emotions. I need to learn how to regulate my state of mind, and not allow things outside of myself to regulate that for me. That's the life lesson. And so the understandings I can build from that are direction, being driven, um, leadership, being a leader of myself, directing myself, manifestation, you know, um, forgiveness, forgive myself for doing that to myself. There's all types of things that you can understand. And so once I start to learn that, oh wow, you know what? Here it is 3 weeks down the road. I'm working on manifesting. I'm working on understanding how my mind manifests things in my life. I'm learning breathing exercises to regulate my emotions. I'm learning how to let go of stress so that I don't let a stressful job, weigh me down after I leave the job. And I wouldn't have learned all of these things. I wouldn't have initiated the effort that I needed to learn all of these things if I didn't get fired. So it's a lot easier to let go of the emotions tied to being fired once you learn those lessons. So teeth falling out essentially mean that you aren't breaking down your life experience. You know, you either use it or lose it. You know, so if your teeth are falling out, it's like, oh, I no longer have the use of my teeth. I no longer have the use of breaking down my life experiences. Okay, I need to wake up and really break down what's been bothering me about my life and the situations that I have going on in my life. So the next one, number three, being back in school, taking a test, being unprepared. So places in life, that's the form, is it's a place, school, a specific place, but let's start with just place. It's the form. And the function of places is it gives us a space to exist. You know, the place that I'm in is where I'm existing currently. The place where you're in is where you're existing currently. We can all get up and move to the next room and be existing in a different place. So places give us space to exist. How does the consciousness use that same function? The place where you exist, your consciousness is your state of mind. Being in a learning state of mind. Well, that's what the school represents. That's the type of place, a learning state of mind. Um, Being in a productive state of mind. So being at work represents being in a productive state of mind. You know, being in a happy state of mind, being in a festive state. You know, when you're out with your friends, you're in a festive state of mind. When you're around your kids, you're more like a teacher's kind of mode, a teaching state of mind. You know, being in a loving state. There's all types of states of mind. You know, we all understand that, I believe. Um, so the place school is in being in a learning state of mind. And so school is, or life is also a lot like school. You know, life is cyclical. We are either going in circles or we're going in cycles. You know, if we go through and have different life lessons all year long, and if we don't learn the lessons that we have available to us, then we just have to relearn them. You know, destiny is a very real thing. You know, there are things that are destined to happen in the superconscious mind, like we talked about last week. The receptive quality of the superconscious mind is to hold the blueprint that we have created for ourselves. Our spirit, as a spirit, we have created a blueprint for our existence as a soul and body, and we are to fulfill that blueprint. You know, like for me, for example, part of my purpose in life is this, you know, to learn these things and learn these metaphysical principles and things and apply them into my life to gain deeper understandings, and then also to share what I know and what I'm unlocking deeper that I've already learned from within myself and within my soul with other people. That's a part of my blueprint. So anytime I get lost in life, I can just re assess from the blueprint. So, you know, there is a destiny portion of it, but also free will is very real as well. You know, there isn't like a either or kind of thing. I also have the free will to decide whether I want to do those things now or not. You know, if I don't, then I'll just have to do them later, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. If I don't do it at all this lifetime, then I'll have to do it next lifetime, you know, because I've set it in motion for myself. So, you know, the lessons that you have to learn in life, that's fine. I mean, yeah, you've set it up for yourself, but you don't have to learn it right now. If you don't want to, don't. But you'll just wait a while, and the opportunity will arise again for you to learn it at a later time. You can choose then. I want to learn it now or not. No. Okay. Wait a little longer. Okay, now this time I want to learn it. I'm tired. I'm tired of the same lesson. You know, it's just like school. You can take all the lessons in ninth grade, and if you pass or pass the majority or enough to go on to the next grade, then you're going to cycle up and go to the next grade. So you're no longer in English. You're English one. You're in English two. You're not in pre-algebra. You're in algebra one. You know, so you're still in algebra. You're still doing math, but it's a higher form. You know, so you're still on the lesson of, forgiveness, forgiving yourself, but now it's on a higher form. You already learned that, but yeah. So I mean, so I get a lot of people, a lot of my mentees, a lot of times they'll be like, I feel like I've already learned this lesson, but here it comes coming up again. Or a lot of times, especially like uh I had one mentee where she would say that often, like, man, I could have swore I did a lot of work with this. A lot of dreams were coming up with this, and I did a lot of work with this, and now here it is coming up in the dream again. I'm like, well, look, it's coming up in a different way though, and that's because it's showing up in a different way in your life. You're on a whole nother level with this dream. That's why it's coming up as the number 70, not the number 7, because there's more power to it. The number 0 represents, a higher level. And so that'll help you understand that. We'll get to the numbers and everything. But anyways, just like in school, if you pass the lesson, you go on to the next grade. And so you'll be around the same subjects, but it'll be on a higher form, a deeper understanding. But if you don't learn the lessons, then you're going to have to retake the grade. You got to retake ninth grade. You got to retake 10th grade. Okay, we're moving you on to 11th grade, but you got to retake Spanish too, man. You failed the F out of that. You got to retake Spanish too. So, school being back in school for people who have already graduated, as adults, if we dream of being back in school, that's going to represent how we feel. We are learning from life. We are in a learning state of mind, learning from our life lessons. However, we feel like we should have already learned this lesson. Like, man, I feel like I should have already learned this lesson. You're going to dream about being back in school or taking a test that you're unprepared for. It's like, feeling like, man, this is too much. This is more than I can handle. I'm not ready to learn this lesson. I'm not prepared for it. And so it, you are prepared for it. If it's coming across in your experiences, you are able to handle it and go through it and survive and grow from it. You're able to handle it. It's just it might take a lot more willpower and a lot more perseverance than other experiences. So anyone who has these types of dreams, that's what it will mean. And so what I would do if I had a dream like this is assess what I have available to learn from life. And not just like, learning life lessons. Like, oftentimes whenever I ask people, well, what do you learn from life? Because that's just something I randomly ask people all the time. And just because I value a metaphysical conversation more than conversation of weather or sports. But anyways, one common thing that a lot of people will say is like, "Oh yeah, well, right now I'm learning from life not to trust people." That something like that. It's like, okay, I can see how that can be a life lesson, but let's go deeper than just that. You know, okay, what else? What can you learn from that? What deeper understandings? How can you understand in a deeper way? Something like friendship or compassion or consideration or empathy or something. I don't know, communication, something else that will actually benefit you versus, like that's kind of like being in school and it's like, oh, well, you got a D on this test, but he failed. It's like pointing to somebody else's lessons they have to learn. But anyways, I would assess and look at what you have to learn from life and just really contemplate on it and go deeper with it. Sometimes some stream of consciousness writing helps, where you just like write and write and write on whatever it is until all of your thoughts are emptied out. That's also really, we'll get into more of that with like incubation dreams when we talk about that. So, number 4, snake dreams. So, a snake is an animal, and animal is the form. And the function of animals, there are a lower life form. And so, I don't want to get into a whole thing of um, like the evolution of consciousness through elements and gases and everything. But animals are a lower life form. Well, so you okay? I guess so. You have gases are one of the lowest life forms. Gases. Doesn't really have any physicality to it in this physical 3D reality. And then you have minerals, which have form, but they have no motion. And then you have plants. Plants have motion; they can move a little, but they don't really have mobility. So they can feel things, they can feel emotions, but they don't really have the ability to move around. Animals are have the ability to move around and they have motion and they have physicality, like those previous three. However, they lack imagination. They have no imagination. So they're very habitual because it's hard for them to imagine something new and create something new for themselves. So animals are very habitual. Well, then you have humans. Humans have imagination, so we have the power to create things. So we are creative beings. So we're of a higher life form, and then we are also moving into more spiritual, intuitive beings, not necessarily like, we're going to evaporate into spirits and just be wispy beings, but we are becoming more powerful in adding intuition as, like daydreaming is just a very easy thing. Anybody can do it, but not anybody can just perceive intuitively, intuitive thoughts on a whim, so we are moving into a state of humanity, through the next hundreds of years, to where intuitive thoughts and being intuitive is going to be just as natural as daydreaming. But anyways, that's the next life, higher life form. But anyways, I was saying all that just to help you understand the function portion of this form and function. Animals are habitual creatures. So how is the mind habitual? Well, the habitual thoughts that you have, meaning, because a habit is something you just do without thinking of it. Somebody says bless you, you have a habit, or somebody sneezes, you have a habit of saying bless you. You don't think about it, you just say it. You know, if you have a habit of brushing your teeth, habits are things you just don't think of, you just do them. Well, we also have habitual ways that we use our mind. Like I used to have a strong habit. It still comes up every once in a while, but not really so much anymore. I used to have whenever I'm driving down the road, I would have a habit of just like my mind would just imagine the most wild shit of just like, driving off a cliff, or, you know, driving into the onside traffic, or, if semi flipped over, and my mind would just imagine like, oh, if these, it was more like if these scenarios happen, what would I do kind of thing. Um, but slowly some people, a lot of other people experience that. So I'll just share what I did with it. I would just take that image and use my imagination to burn it up in fire, which will purify the energy. And then I imagine myself, wherever I'm going, I imagine myself pulling in, very calm, very stress free, very happy to be there, and pulling in and in a very timely fashion. Also had a same thing along the same lines. And this still does this is the way it still does happen on in an often way, not very often, but every once in a while, where I'll imagine a cop pulling me over, being pulled over. It's a very real thing that happens to a lot of people when they're driving. And so I'll do the exact same thing. Okay, let me burn this image up, because I'll get into like going through whole scenarios of, okay, I need to make sure that when they come up to the window, I let them know, I have a concealed carry permit. This is where my pistol is, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, wait a second, why am I getting it? Why am I imagining and manifesting this whole conversation to where I'm just going to attract to myself this experience? No, let me burn this up, and then let me take that energy that I just purified, and let me imagine myself wherever I'm going, pulling in just fine. I'm happy, I'm at peace, I'm there on time, and then I go on my day. But that's a very habitual thought, so I'm explaining all of that just to help you to be able to identify your own habitual thoughts. Well, yeah, what kind of thoughts just habitually come into the back of my mind? Another one I used to have is I need more money. I didn't consciously just think I need more money. I would get a bill. I need more money. A lot of times when this was going on, run out of minutes. A lot of us can understand that. Oh man, I ran out of minutes. I need some more money. I need to get some more minutes on my phone. Even when I got paid, this ain't enough. I need more money. It's a very habitual thought. I got to go to the grocery store. I got a long list of groceries. I got money. I got a long list of groceries. I'm about to stock up. I'm about to spend $300 on these groceries. But I'm only getting less than 1% of what's in the store. So it's like in the back of my mind, I have this habitual thought of I need more money on all the things that aren't on my list as I'm passing them up. If there's anything on my list that I want and I'm passing up, I need more money for that because I need these things. So it was a very habitual thought for me. So explaining kind of those two examples to help you to identify your own habitual thoughts. But snakes, there's a few animals that have specific interpretations. So let me backtrack a second. You know, as a person who interprets dreams, I can really only share and translate the language that the dream is in. That's really all I'm doing. I'm translating. Interpreting really comes from the dreamer because they're the only ones who knows their mind. They're the only ones who really know their thoughts and emotions throughout the day. And they're the only ones who can really identify what this whole translation, what this whole meaning of the dream really applies to, what it really means. I have people all the time. Oh my God, that makes so much sense. Only they can make sense of it. Because for me, I'm like, I have no idea. Like when I first started interpreting dreams, I'd be like, well, it seems like this dream is saying this. Like I have no clue. And they'll be like, oh my God, this is exactly what's happening. Oh, okay, great. Now it's just, yeah, this is what your dream means. Yeah, I have thousands of experiences back in that feeling up. But certain animals represent certain things. And so, other than those certain animals, any animal, you have to identify that. And to help you to identify that, you would just look at how you view that animal. So, like, for instance, a lot of people with dogs, a lot of times it's loyalty. For cats, the majority of people are going to see that as like independence. Turtles, slow or protective. That's kind of switches. So, yes, it is universal, of it's habitual thought, but there is kind of your own perspective on that. Just like with people, I'm going to see Jill one way, Tom's going to see Jill another way, and Susan's going to see Jill a third way. Jill's still a person, so she still represents a characteristic of her own personality, but how we view her is going to determine what that characteristic is. So you really have to look at what how you view that animal, and that'll give you more insight into that habitual thought that it's speaking on. Now, snakes represent creative energy, because snakes, for thousands of years, have represented the Kundalini. I put a video on this on TikTok the other day on snakes and the Kundalini and things. But one thing that you can see that's regularly still in America, because America is really the only culture that sees snakes in a negative way. But snakes will represent creative energy, because the Kundalini is your divine healing power. And so in the universal language of, or in our culture in America, hospitals have the Kundalini symbol. Like we all know, like the staff with the snake around it. Well, some places have one staff with a snake around it. That's more kind of, they're trying to just be a little more hidden with it and go along the like storyline of Moses. But the true depiction is the staff with the two snakes around it, the Ida and Pingala, the Kundalini energy within your spine. The staff is your spine. You have the Kundalini energy, Ida and Pingala. It's two strands swirling around, interconnecting at your chakras. And then the wings at the top, which represent the freedom that you will find once you activate this Kundalini. You know, and so we all, I'm certain, can think of and pull to mind from our memory that image. Well, part of the reason that they put that on ambulances and hospitals is because it's our most powerful healing energy. It's our most powerful creative energy, but it's a very healing energy, because it can create healing. If you understand the mechanics of it and how to use it. But that's what you create the healing. So that's why it's still creative energy. You're creating the healing. But ambulances and things, they put that on there because we all understand hospitals for the most part, and doctors, and in America, the healthcare system is pretty much designed to create customers. Create patients, to create customers, to generate money. You own a hospital, you are a millionaire by default, multimillionaire by default. But part of the things that will alleviate their karma for doing that is to also let you can heal this shit yourself. We're going to ride you in an ambulance marked with the symbols of the Kundalini, meaning you have the power within you to create your own healing on this, if you only knew how to do it. But anyways, snakes are habitual use of the creative energy. A lot of us, a lot of snake dreams come through of like being afraid of snakes, or snakes biting the people, or lots of snakes. And so that's really going to come through as being afraid of your own creative power. So like earlier, I talked about, the example of the person who got fired. They got fired, and they were, they realized, I realized, oh, wow, I kind of manifested this myself by, you know, not really wanting to be at this job, being tired of this job, and talking down, and it's frustrating me. And I kind of unconsciously created and manifested me no longer being there because I didn't want to be there. Wow, my creative power really bit me in the ass. So, oh, this snake bit me. So you can really see how that interpretation would, somebody would Like if that person came to me and said, I had a dream about a snake, and I don't know. A friend of mine told me to come to you. I had a dream about a snake bit. Oh, okay. It means you're kind of afraid of your own creative power. You created something in your life and kind of bit you in the ass. Oh, yeah, I got myself fired. But anyways, that's kind of what snake dreams, what it would mean. And so if you had a dream like this, what I would do, because like I said, applying the message is the most important thing. What I would do if I had a dream like this is look at the circumstances in my life that I don't like that I don't want to be there, and then assess like how have I created this for myself? How has my creative power kind of bit me in the ass? How am I afraid of how because I'm unconsciously creating this? That kind of scares me. Like a lot of times I'll if I say things like, you have the power to create your own healing, or your thoughts create your reality. You mean I manifested this to happen to me? You mean I manifested this illness on myself? Okay, okay. I mean, I'll kind of like back up, but really, ultimately, yes. I mean, it was probably unconscious. Nobody's really out here consciously hurting themselves, torturing themselves. Some people, they have other illnesses that they're working on. But you know, through that power, that unconscious power, kind of scares them. That's kind of scary to grasp. But if you do grasp it, then one, there's a level of responsibility, but then on the back end of that, there is a level of freedom. Because if I've created this, then I can definitely create the healing. So that's what I would do if I had a dream like this when I was kind of scared of snakes, is look at how I've kind of how have I unconsciously caused this to happen. Okay, that insight will help me to understand and identify how I can then consciously manifest what I do want. So 5, sex dreams. So sex is the form and the function of sex. The primary function of sex is to create a baby, which ends up developing into a new person. So people in dreams are characteristics of your own personality. The words are in the words. Character, person, the characteristics of your own personality. So if I have a dream of my cousin, like throwing a rock at my face, it's not going to be like, hey, I need to stay away from my cousin because he's out to get me. No, my cousin's irresponsible, so that's how I see him. Like just like animals, how do I see this person? What's the main quality I see in them? Oh, irresponsible, unresponsible, unreliable. Oh, ways that I have been unreliable are hurting me. You know, and hurting my, I go deeper into that dream, but pretty much hurting me. Okay, I can see that. So people represent different characteristics. Now, say I am unresponsible and I want to become a responsible person. Well, if I'm not a responsible person, I do have that within me, but it hasn't been brought to the forefront because it hasn't been developed as a characteristic. I don't have that characteristic within my personality, so I have to develop it. So what do I have to do? I have to create it. So just like in order to create a new person, you have to have sex in order to create a baby, which develops into a new person. So sex in a dream will represent creating something new, some sort of new aspect of yourself. The act of creating that is going to be what sex represents. So if I started, okay, the first thing you're going to create is an idea. Okay, I can see myself being more responsible. I have an idea of what it would be like to be more responsible. And as I think on that and contemplate that idea more and more as the days go on, then it kind of formulates into a stronger idea. Oh wow, yeah, if I was more responsible, then I wouldn't ever have I'd save money because I wouldn't have to pay all these late payments on my phone bill and my rent, and I wouldn't ever have to have overdraft fees. So I'd already save a lot of more money, let alone make more money. Yeah, if I was more responsible, I wouldn't just do the bare minimum at work. I'd go a little bit above and beyond to kind of manifest more money for myself. If I was more responsible, my relationships would be better because I'd be more dependable as a person. I'd things like that. And so as you're thinking on that, I haven't done anything to be more responsible yet, but I'm really formulating a stronger idea. The idea of being responsible is gestating within my mind. Just like a baby, once the seed is planted into the womb, then within the womb, the baby continues to form, it continues to develop, it starts to get hands, legs, eyes, organs, it starts to grow, it starts to build until it's ready to be birthed out into the physical. So, you know, it's the same way with this idea. Okay, it's really taking form now. I'm really seeing how much it can benefit me. I'm really understanding just how great this is going to be. Okay, what's the first step I need to do to be more responsible? Okay, I'm going to start with this. I'm going to start being more responsible in this way. And then as you start to have, signs, physical signs of being more responsible, that's it being birthed. It's now become physicalized. It's now a physical part of yourself. So so then you'll stop not really have sex dreams, and then you'll have pregnancy dreams. If you're a guy, maybe you'll have dreams of somebody else being pregnant. Or, I mean, sometimes guys do have dreams of them being pregnant. I've had people come to me with those dreams. But then once you actually start being responsible, then you'll start to have baby dreams. But sex dreams, there's sex, two different types of sex. Some people have sex to try to create a baby. Some people just do it for the enjoyment and pleasure of it. So if you're in a dream and that's the kind of sex you're having, just the enjoyment of it, it's kind of going to represent how you're toying with the idea of evolving into someone new. Having sex for the fun of it is going to be how you talk about what you're wanting to do different and things like that, but you're not really taking any action on it. So if so, that's kind of the form and function and the interpretation. So if I was someone who was having a dream like this, then I would well with the one I would just assess who am I wanting to become, who am I wanting to evolve into, and then what steps am I taking in order to do that? What are the first steps I need to take in order to do that? Or what steps haven't I taken that I need to take? But if you're taking the steps, then you're doing the work. And that's always a good thing. All right. So the last two slides are just a bunch of real quick to understand the language, most common symbols. Like I said, write these down, and you'll have a recording so you can go back and pause it and write them down in your dream journal. But write them down the back in the glossary so you'll have your own. So real quick, most common symbols: house, home. Like I said, places are the state of mind. Well, the home is the form, and the function of the home is it's your everyday place of existence. It's where you feel most comfortable, safe, secure. So it's going to be a safe, secure state of mind, your everyday, regular state of mind. The first floor is going to represent the conscious mind, second floor, subconscious mind, third floor, superconscious mind. So let's go back to here. You have the first floor, conscious mind. Second floor, the next division, because these are three divisions separated by these solid lines. First floor, second floor, third floor. So if you're having a dream on the first floor, it's something about the physical, conscious mind. Second floor is about subconscious. Third floor, or the attic, is about the superconscious mind. You'll almost never have a dream of a house that has more than 3 stories. Anything that has more than 3 stories is usually like some kind of building or something, factory or skyscraper or something. Almost always. And then the basement represents unconscious. It's sub level. It's underneath the surface. So it's unconscious. The roof will also represent superconscious mind. What separates you from the sky. The sky represents superconscious mind. So the roof will represent the separation between the superconscious mind. So, oops, blow this one. This right line right here will separate the roof because, like just to reiterate from last week, this line goes outside of the triangle to delineate the fact that the superconscious mind is whole amongst itself. The subconscious and conscious minds are two halves of one whole. This is the receptive, this is the aggressive, this is the feminine, this is the masculine. So we talked about people earlier. Males in dreams are going to represent conscious mind because males are aggressive, naturally, giving. So the conscious mind is always it's more aggressive. Those thoughts are just coming into your mind. And the subconscious mind is more receptive. Women are naturally more receptive. They can be aggressive. Guys can be receptive, but naturally they're more receptive. So they're going to be represent the subconscious mind, aspects of the subconscious mind. So hospital, the place, And what kind of place? It's about healing. So a healing state of mind. School, the learning state of mind. Work, a productive state of mind. We actually talked about a lot of these already. Church, a spiritual state of mind. Prison, walls, and fences. Those are all going to represent limitations. Fences are somewhat limiting. You can jump over a fence, go through a fence with the door. You can knock a fence over. So these are kind of weaker limitations, personal limitations. So personal limitation, we start there first, is some sort of belief that you have that is limiting your possibilities. Because through the universal law of infinity, anything is possible. So if a belief is just a thought that you continue to think. So if you have a strong belief, something that you believe that's not universally true, then it's a personal limitation. It's not universal, it's personal. So like a lot of people believe that you have to work hard in order to make a lot of money. That's not true. I know plenty of people who have just received a lot of money, you know. They just inherited it or won the lottery or came across it somehow. They didn't work hard, and I've had coworkers who didn't work at all, and got the same amount of money as me. So that is a personal limitation. It's a belief that is true for you because of how much you believe it, but not necessarily for other people. So sometimes it limits us. That belief limits the space that we can, encompass how far our mind can expand. If I started like walls is the next strongest, because walls you can have doors and windows to get through them, but you can't really knock them down as strong as fences. You can't jump over a wall. I mean, if it's a wall that doesn't have a roof, yeah. But anyways, walls are stronger than fences, and so it's going to be a stronger limitation. You know, and so it'll take more effort to break through those. Like the room that you're in right now, if you just started expanding until you filled up the room, you wouldn't really be able to expand anymore until you broke through that wall and broke all that down. Then you can expand further. So your consciousness is the same way. These personal limitations place limits on how far you can expand and grow. And eventually, after expanding so far, as if you're anyone who's done any kind of personal development or spiritual development or soul growth of any kind, you come sometimes through your growth, you come across points in life where shit just gets rough. That's when you've expanded as far as you can without having to, now you have to break down these personal limitations, these personal beliefs in order to grow even any further than this. So some people do the work that it takes to overcome those heavier obstacles to break through and start to grow further. And some people kind of dissipate. Some people do both at different times. I've had plenty of times in these last 12 years where I've done both. And then prison isn't even stronger. That's walls. I can walk through this wall right now. Through using this door or this doorway. If I'm in a prison and I'm stuck in prison sentence, I can't I can't walk out of there. Those are a lot stronger personal limitations. The prison is like life sentence. Years. So these are very strong beliefs. That I need more money that I used to have. That was very true for me, but it wasn't true for everybody. It wasn't universal. Not everybody needed more money. Jeff Bezos, he don't need more money. He's after trying to get more money, but he don't need it. Me at those times in my life, I needed more money. No matter what happened in my life, it was just to reaffirm that I needed more money. That was a life sentence. That was a prison. When I broke through that, that was like breaking out of prison. Actually, I think I can recall the actual dream that I had around that time. Where I actually had a couple, but there's one very significant one of breaking out of prison. I didn't just break myself out of prison, but other people. I could probably even go to the exact journal that it's in, go to the page. Anyways, that's another value of dream. Writing down your dreams is you have documentation and study. You can see the personal growth. You can see how it developed. You can go back to those dreams and reread them and reinterpret them. But anyways, that's what prisons will be. It's supposed to be more of like a fast-paced thing. But oh well, as long as you're learning and growing, all the benefit. It's all that matters. So the last one here, apartments, dorms, and mall, is going to represent universal mind. So I'm going to have to take a minute on this to kind of break that down as well. So these are all places, right? So states of mind. Well, first of all, it's these are all things that have like lots of individual units that come together. Like a mall has lots of individual stores that all make up and encompass that one body of a building, mall. Dorms and apartments have all these different units that, like living quarters, that unite together within and form this one building. Like, actually, I just shared earlier, mint, the suffix ment means mind. So apartment, each part of the mind, it's a part of the mind. So universal mind, these the different parts that make up the universal mind. Enlightenment, light is awareness, like we talked about. So enlightenment is more light in your mind. Government, you can go from there. Ailment, anyways. Universal mind is what it'll represent, and what the universal mind is how we are all connected. Like if you're in an apartment building, you're connected to the person on the other side of the wall. You're connected to the person below you. You're connected to the person above you. You're connected to the person on the other wall. You're connected to the person across the hall. And so, just like earlier we were talking about, the deeper in mind you go, the more you're able to realize that connection that you have with other people are that is happening through universal mind. So when we talked about earlier, when you think about somebody and you look down and they've already texted you, or they're calling, or you're thinking of a song in your head and the person next to you starts singing it, that is an occurrence happening through universal mind. So in those moments, you were in a state of mind of being connected and consciously open to the universal mind, how we are all connected through the mind. So that's what is meant by universal mind. Okay, actually, for this, water, earth, and sky. Life experience in the conscious mind, earth is subconscious mind, sky is superconscious mind. Come back here. Water, conscious mind, earth, subconscious mind, and superconscious mind, sky. So these different things. So like in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, he talks about or the halls of Amenti are located in the center of the earth. And he talks about the halls are triangles. So the center of the earth, superconscious mind, in the very center, like I told you last week, in the very center right here is the Akashic records. And so, that's what that line in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth represent, which is Egyptian culture. Um, but in like we'll talk about and learn about, the Bible has it. All these ancient scriptures hold the same knowledge, just in different ways, because we weren't as connected as we are today. So our understanding and interpretation of life and the Most High and creation and the universe was through our own interpretations as subcultures throughout the planet that are kind of exclusive to yourself. Unless you were like a trader, then you weren't really experiencing anything other than your own culture. But anyways, okay. So fire is the form. The function of fire is to purify or expand. It'll either, whatever you throw into the fire, it'll be purified into ash, which, ash is a much more pure form. One of the greatest things you can put in your garden isn't Miracle Grow, it's ashes, ash from a fire pit. You throw that in there, it's like, it has so many nutrients and things for the plants. And then also, if whatever you throw into a fire, it'll expand. If you start a fire on something, it'll expand throughout the rest of it. And so, how does that affect the consciousness? Your expansion of consciousness, your purification of your consciousness. This is why whenever I any of my mentees or anyone at all, I suggest any type of concentration exercise, or they ask about any concentration exercise, I suggest a candle flame. I'll give them options. You can do like a little drop of water, something real slow, because the nature of the mind is motion. So you want something that moves at least a little bit, but is a little still a little still. So a little slow drop of water dropping, bloop, forming, watch it form, and then watch it drop, or a cloud in the sky that's moving real slow, um, or a second hand on the clock, or a minute hand on the clock, or you can advance up to an hour hand, but that's really slow. Might as well be looking at a pen, but the tip of a pen or pencil. But anyways, fire, a candle flame, is what I always suggest, because not only is it's very still, it's sitting there, but it also has a little motion wave to it, but it's very still. But the purifying effects that it has, because what you're doing, you're putting your attention on it. all over and over and over. You're putting your attention on it. So you're putting your attention inside of this fire. And so not only is it purifying your attention, but it's also expanding it as well. So it has a lot more effects than just, the drop of water. But on to the next one, air. Air, it represents your thoughts, because just like air, your thoughts, you can perceive it, but you can't really see it, but you can perceive that it's there. So tornado is air just swirling around and around and around really fast in the same spot and causing destruction. So it's like the same thoughts that are just swirling around and around in your mind, creating this inner turmoil, this inner destruction, tormenting you. Hands. Your hands, the function of your hands allow you to have many different purposes. You can do so many things with your hands. I'm over here using the mouse. You can use them to talk. You can use them to build things. You can use them to tear things down. You can use them to comfort someone. You can use them to hurt someone. There's so many purposes with your hands. So your hands are going to represent your life purpose. Anything actually, both of these, as somebody earlier, have a dream where their hands were on fire. It's like, oh, okay, you're through following your life purpose, you're expanding your consciousness. So that's a way you can see how you're putting these two things together. You know, you're following your life purpose, and so it's expanding your consciousness. And of course they were like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. This and this is going on. Your feet, your feet are your foundation. They give you the support and keep you rooted. So with your consciousness, your spiritual foundation. So your spiritual foundation is mostly like your spiritual beliefs, those core beliefs that you hold spiritually, the core practices that you have through either prayer or meditation or dream work. That's going to also be your spiritual foundation. Faces are all about identity. If nobody had faces, it'd be so hard to identify anybody. That's why on your ID they take a picture of your face. So some people in dreams will the people in their dreams will be people that they know, their friends and family. That means they're very self-aware. They're easily able to identify these qualities within themselves. They're very self-aware. um, some people have dreams where they don't know anybody. They don't know any of the people in their dreams. They're all strangers, or it's a mix. But if it's all strangers, then they can learn to identify the parts of themselves, but they aren't very familiar with them. So they can identify it, but it's not very familiar to them. Um, I get some people, and it's a very common thing. It's a misconception where people will say, everybody that you have ever dreamed of is your brain didn't make that person up. It's someone that you've met in your life at some time in your dreams, using their face to be a stranger in your. No, that's not true. People are coming up with that mainly because they're coming from a perspective that your dreams are a brain experience. And yeah, the brain functions in different ways while you're dreaming, but it's a mind experience. So it's not limited by just who you've come across. So, um, kind of absurd. Understand it. But anyways, some people have dreams where people don't have faces. People don't have any faces at all in their dreams, and so they, are someone who they aren't able to identify these parts of themselves. If somebody came up to him like, "Man, Tony, you're a real asshole," I'm like, I don't know, I don't think so. Or, "Man, you just don't know how to listen." Like, what? I know how to listen. They just don't. They have no self awareness. We all know somebody who just is completely not self-aware at all. So eyes, the function is the eyes of the form. The function of eyes allow you to perceive things, allow you to be aware of things, allow you a particular perspective. So depending on the context of the dream, it'll be one of those three things: your the consciousness, your conscious awareness, your perspective that your consciousness has, your perception. Being to be able to perceive something. So depending on how that shows up in the dream, and so the same thing is true for like glasses. Glasses will represent the same thing. Um, windows will also represent awareness because they allow you to see through the walls, limitations. So it allows you to be aware of what's on the other side. Binoculars and telescopes, that'll kind of be the same kind of stuff. Anything to do with the eyes, it's going to be these. Flying represents mental freedom. Flying is not being able to be controlled and weighed down by gravity. So, not how does that affect the consciousness? Not being weighed down by the stresses that of life that are normally, weighing you down. So being free of that. So flying in a dream is kind of going to represent that mental freedom, not being, being stress free. And like we talked about earlier, death represents transformation, everything, and the dreams about yourself. So it's about self transformation. Nope. All right. Well, feel free to come with some dreams next week or throughout the week. You can send me a message and get a dream interpreted. No problem for free. That's no problem with me. But great. I enjoyed it and hope you all receive some value from it and continue to, maybe watch this again or, really look, start to look throughout the week this week. Start to look at just random images that you come across in your life. Chair. What is it? What would a chair? That's the form. What's the function of a chair? It allows me to sit down. Okay, well, why do I sit down on the chair versus sitting down on the broomstick? Why do I sit down on the chair versus the cardboard box? You know, oh well, it's more stable. It's sturdy. Okay, because it has four legs. It's more sturdy. Oh, okay. So stability or represents stability. That's why also the number four represents stability. So just kind of assess and look at different things. What would this maybe represent? And you can be right, you can be completely wrong. Doesn't matter, but just start to try to understand the language some throughout this week. But all right, I'm gonna wrap this up and yeah, see you guys next week.